What's up guys, it's Travis with TCustomz Productionz, TCustomz.com. Today I want to just do a quick recap video for the 2015 A3C Festival and Conference that I just got back from. That's why I hadn't uploaded any official video on the channel for the past week. I did post some clips for those of you who follow me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, different events, some of the showcases and things like that. Also did just kind of a test Periscope, I think on Friday or Saturday. Some of you joined in, and just kind of to summarize my experience to that point. For those of you who went, you know there was a lot of stuff going on. There were sometimes time slots that had 4 or 5 different things going on, and so you kind of had to prioritize. There were many times where I wanted to attend 2 or 3 of the different panels or interviews, whatever was going on, then showcases at the same time, but just kind of had to prioritize my schedule based on that. There were a lot of hip hoppers there, a lot of underground, like East Coast style stuff. You had the mainstream trap style artists and performers and pretty much everything in between. But today I just thought I would kind of talk through my experience day by day, tell you just kind of some of the little things that I attended, post up some images here and there, so maybe some little clips that I took from some of the panels and various performances, just talk through a little bit of my experience over the past week. So pretty much every day, I mean, Wednesday was kind of an exception. That was the initial registration. It's almost kind of like a half day. There were some performances and things in the evening, but specifically Thursday, Friday, Saturday were pretty much jam-packed days. Panels, interviews, music showcases, and they had a lot of the bigger performances outdoors on the festival grounds and had a couple different stages set up so you can kind of bounce back and forth. Plus they did a lot of the showcases at some of the local bars in the downtown Atlanta area. Basically Wednesday we got there, checked in, got our all-access wristbands, which I still haven't taken off for whatever reason. Later that evening we went to a TuneCore live music showcase. He had a number of independent artists there. Again, different styles, different genres. Chris Rivers performed. He had a pretty dope performance.
And this kid is not well. Twirling live grenades, sipping Molotov cocktails. Never been a moment in my life that was not hell, but I'm the greatest thing since the moment that my pops fell. I love y'all.
Thursdays when some of the panels started, different topics. We went to one called Creating Today's Creative Economy, how to create capital and stability for your creative movement.
Getting your music out there is one thing. Making money off your music is another. That's where the clutter comes in. Everybody got music out there. Everybody here can make a rap. Can you make money off it?
When you hear perspectives from this many different people established in the industry, whether they're independent, they're with a label, they're with some other company or service, but they serve some sort of role within the music community, a lot of really dope information and value you can get out of just attending one of these. Plus many of them open up for Q&As, and some of the panels were actually all Q&A, so it wasn't even there was a set curriculum or set points they were going to address. They just opened up the floor, and it just for an hour, hour and a half, it was just all question and answer. That kind of stuff is really invaluable, and I tried to find a balance of, you know, recording some of it and then also just kind of experiencing it. Another panel we went to was where music and tech meet. They talked about different tools that you can use to help promote your music online and talk to a lot of really great stuff.
It's a business. It's a business that honestly, outside of the traditional movie business, it's the most ruthless business that you can ever encounter. And so I would highly recommend that you educate yourself through and through. There's all kinds of resources available to you that weren't necessarily available when any of us got started. So there's no reason to be taken advantage of. There's no reason not to be educated anymore. The only reason would just be ignorance at this point.
And then later on, after a few of these music business panels, they're supposed to have a one-on-one interview or conversation with Dame Dash. I don't know the whole story of why he couldn't make it or whatever, if he canceled or whatever the case. Young Jeezy ended up filling in, and so they had kind of a one-on-one interview conversation with him.
When you see somebody being successful with something they love, you can't knock that, man. It's like they had an idea and they saw it all the way through. And you just see the glamour and the glitz. You know what I mean? But you don't know the hard work that was put in there. I had one of my homies tell me that, and he's doing very well. You know, he just told me a story one day about how he was homeless and he was sleeping in his car. I was like, man, the Bentley?
Then later on, we basically went to some music showcases for independent artists. It's a lot of dope performances, too many really to name, and then we just kind of stayed out and listened to different music showcases through the rest of the night on Thursday. Friday morning, we went to a panel called How to Make Money Revenue Streams Available for Artists.
Once you have your business straight and once you're actually popping, then the labels will come after you. Like searching for, you know, the person to save you or entity to save you, you will never make that happen. So the transition is really making sure you concentrate on everything you can do first and foremost, because then once you do that, then you'll have leverage. Because that's what this music industry, or any industry for that matter, is about. leverage.
After that panel, we went to a one-on-one conversation interview with Ryan Leslie, where he was talking about kind of promoting his new software, his new application, where you're able to have the direct communication, direct relationship with your customers versus distributing through, say, an iTunes. He was talking about the new model for his album, how he grows $2 million as an independent artist without a label, selling directly to the consumer.
To going completely independent, no label, no manager, no music videos, no PR. Straight SMS, thanking every single fan, 13,000 records, $2 million in gross revenue, no label on the last project. And so I'm not saying that for any accolades, but I'm saying that to show you and to be an example that it's possible if you have the work ethic and you have the desire to connect and really appreciate the people who put you in the position that you're in to be able to create for a living.
So after the Ryan Leslie conversation was a producer branding 101 panel. It included Alchemist and Oh No. They formed Gangrene. While there was a lot of good information in that particular panel, it would have been good to also hear somebody else that's established but is still relatively new in the game and kind of has a different approach and angle of how they've been able to brand themselves. But overall, it was pretty dope. Next was a producer roundtable. It was just like a live interview, the interviewer talking to about 5 or 6 different producers about different topics. Just Blaze was one of the notables there. There was a lot of great conversations. You know, they talked about hardware and software. They talked about different stories and experiences from their career. I wasn't able to capture all the video, but I did get a couple clips.
You know, some of the best records in the world have been made on in people's basements, people's kitchens and garages. I don't care if you have the MPC 10,000 and Logic 20 and Ableton 80, it doesn't matter. If your ears suck, your record's gonna suck more than likely.
And then basically the rest of the evening we went to the festival grounds and watched the performances. Cameron was the headliner. Just Blaze was on stage DJing, playing his tracks, doing what he does. You had Beanie Siegel. They brought out Freaky Zeke. If you guys know, I back in the day was like a really big Dipset fan with the whole Jewels, Cameron, Dipset, Heatmakers, you know, Just Blaze, the whole 9. So I was pretty excited to be able to experience that.
How many of y'all know about this guy's beats right here? Y'all know about his beats right? Alchemist Banger. Please give me one of those. What? How it go? Damn! I got my radars up. Y'all just can't see what I just did. Take a couple bars off, let just live. And then I love y'all, baby. I really mean it.
So the next day, Saturday morning, we went to a panel called Managing Utilizing Social Media in 2015. Ryan Leslie was the main person on that event and pretty much stole the show. I mean, he spoke probably 30 minutes at least out of the whole hour. But you had other people speaking on how they built their clothing brand through social media, how they built their graphic design brand through social media. And it was just good to get everybody's perspective on how they've built and established their brand and how they're kind of cutting through the clutter on social media. That's one of the big things that we all have access to the platform, but really how to emerge through and actually engage and connect with potential fans and customers. The next one up, and this is one I was looking forward to, was Dig Deep, conversation about sampling. This was probably one of my favorite panels that I went to, just to name some of the people that were on. Bink, if you guys know producer Bink. Kanan, Mr. Porter, used to be part of D12. He had a lot of really great information. Diamond D showed up on the panel. You had Ant-Man Wonder. A lot of stuff got brought up about sample clearances, which I know is like a big topic that I get questions about a lot. Various things that have to do with sampling. I mean, obviously people were asking, like, you know, what equipment do you use and all the same kind of boring stuff that they keep saying. You know, it doesn't matter what you use, it's how you use it. But in addition to that, there were a lot of valuable conversations that got started. Didn't get any video footage from that. I did get a couple pictures that I snapped just because I didn't want to be distracted from what they were saying and sitting here trying to hold a camera and recording it. But that was definitely one that I'm glad I didn't miss. And to top it off, when I walk out of the panel, Alchemist is standing like right there in front of me. Trippy to see. I mean, I knew he was in the area, he'd done performances before, but just for him to be like right there, got to talk to him for a minute, snap a pic. So that was kind of crazy. crazy. We ran into various artists and producers in the hotel. So after the sampling panel, they were supposed to have a one-on-one interview with Rakim. He was supposed to be there earlier. He had a performance later in the evening. He didn't end up showing up for the interview. So it was basically just Peter Rosenberg and TCustomz. It kind of did open Q&A again for an hour and 15 minutes or something. There were a number of good questions. There were a number of really bad questions that got brought up, but nonetheless, it kind of started an interesting conversation.
What we've been doing as hip hoppers is using the raw samples, which is, to me, always like a great sound, you know? It's tight, more raw than the live sound, but if you can get live band members to be that good as the 70s band members were today, and make it sound at least as close as possible to the sample, then I'm all for it.
So after that, Saturday evening was like the main headline performance on the festival grounds. The headliner was De La Soul. There were so many people that shared the stage that day. I probably missed a lot of the names. Some of the people that were actually on the schedule, besides De La, were Pete Rock, Rakim, The Alcoholics, Talib Kweli, and A Tribe Called Quest that jumped on just kind of as special guest appearances. But that was definitely one of the best overall shows, just from start to finish. All the acts that were performing.
Get 'em up, y'all. Put it up in the air, get 'em up, y'all. Get 'em up, anything. Put your hand in the air. With the beat. I'll belittle your place, heard a C. Dirty C. My mouth, the fans made up for me.
So the next day was Sunday. That was the final day of the event. Everything was kind of winding down. They did have a few different things going on. The main showcase was Taylor Gang and Wiz Khalifa on the festival grounds. Before we went out for the music, left the hotel, got some food, came back, hung out for a minute, and then left to go out, I don't know, sometime in the afternoon. Out in front of the hotel is a little area, you know, some different benches that people can sit down in. We were out there just kind of hanging out. Pete Rock was having a conversation right in front of the hotel. We went up, got a couple pictures. Coming back over, I'm sitting on a bench by myself, and he just kind of comes over and just casually sits down. I heard him talking to somebody about he's waiting on a ride to go pick up some shoes, but I definitely was not expecting for him just to sit down right there, probably for like 10 or 15 minutes. So that was a pretty cool experience to say the least. Afterwards, we ended up going to the festival grounds and watching some of the live performances. But that pretty much wrapped up, you know, all of what we did for A3C for those 5 days. But like I said, I just wanted to put this little compilation together since I didn't put up anything officially while I was there, at least to give you an idea of what I attended, the different panels and interviews and things. If you weren't able to attend this year and you're just kind of interested in what else they offered and what else was going on, you should be able to link on their website, and I'll put a link in the description, kind of see what all was on the schedule for this year. They even have a mobile app that we use to kind of navigate and build our own schedules. Hopefully I'll see you next year. If I didn't see you this year, stay inspired, happy music making. More content will be posted very soon, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Steady slamming. Check out the technique. Give them that shit they've been missing. I rock and hip hop. Came to conquer. Put it in the music. Rap steady slamming. Check out the technique. Give them that shit they've been missing. That was destined.